Fireball.
Do we get paid for that?
I don't know, but
That's my goal.
we're live now. So just so you know.
We're live with Fireball. All right.
Fireball.
Hey, this is Wicked Spursy. Mike, Steve, and Dave. Boys, I missed you. And we're starting off with Fireball. But first, let's talk to Steve and say, Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, actually. That's probably on account of the fact that I did not watch the game this week. We took the little one up to the Granby Zoo, north of the border in Canada. We had a lovely time. It took us literally 3 hours to walk the entire place with a almost 3-year-old, saw everything. And then, he just wanted to play on, they have some slides and, different jungle gym type crap that he could play on. And it's like, all right, okay, we saw everything. So if that's what you want to do, whatever. It's hot as hell. So, if I can sit under a tree in the shade, then yeah, have at it, kid. But no, it was a good time. Really quick trip. We really enjoyed it. Heard about what happened after the fact, and for reasons that I'll discuss in a bit, I decided not to go and watch any of the match at all. But that's more on the negative side of things, and I'm trying to stay positive right now, to find some kind of a balance for us. But yeah, good weekend. I'm kind of glad that the weather is starting to normalize into a regular spring routine. Not really super stoked on the rain, but at least it's, more seasonally appropriate.
As opposed to the 80s over the weekend that we had.
Yeah, dude, 85 degrees in the middle of April is not something I was expecting. But, back to the 60s, back to, nice, cool weather. I can deal with this.
Bit of a shock to the system when it happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's good.
Hey, and I want to say, Steve, in my absence last week, you did very well, and Mike, you also did very, very well.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna that was my fucking insults my way.
That was my segue coming to you, and you're going to be gone next time we record, correct? So, how are you, Mike? And what's going on in your life?
I was on call this weekend, so not a ton done. I didn't get a ton done. Saturday, I got called in at like fucking 1 a.m. on Friday night. Well, Saturday morning, right? So I go in and literally the case took 8 minutes. 8 minutes. I was there for 2 hours. So it took me longer.
My friends, is our medical system at its finest, right?
Christ almighty. So anywho, I get home. I was going to stay there overnight, but unfortunately, in a call room, but unfortunately, I forgot my access badge that gets me all over the hospital. So I couldn't access the sleep rooms. So I said, screw it, I'm going to go back home. So I went back home, went to sleep, knowing that there was a case first thing in the morning and I would probably miss the match. But fate kicked me in the nuts. Case got delayed again, and I got to watch the match. I got to have my eggs and my toast. I get to have my coffee, which my Saturday morning is always eggs, toast, and coffee. Like a nice over easy egg, just enough so you can break the yolk and dip the toast in it. Dave knows a good piece of toast. He knows his way around a good piece of toast.
But I think you tipped us off. If you said had some eggs, had some toast, we would know it wasn't a regular occurrence. When you're had my eggs, had my toast, had my coffee, you signaled for us that is an obsession, perhaps.
Saturday obsession, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure. I do the French press and all that shit with my coffee on the weekends. Anywho, got to watch that match. My wife went out for a run, came back in. My daughter said, he yelled at the TV 4 times. And I said, and I said, see, I'm getting better. And I said, it was only 3. Anyway, so still keeps getting delayed. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go out and start cleaning the cars, doing the spring cleaning on the cars. Did like, the hard vacuum of the car, get all the crap out of there from the winter. Did all that.
All that gravel.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, the gravel and the salt stains. And I was like doing hard clean on both of my vehicles. The new truck doesn't need that, but my everyday driver car and Amy's car needed it. So I got almost done to the point where I was like cleaning off the all season mats and got called in. Yeah. So perfect timing. I put my all season mat on the driver's side back in. The other ones were being cleaned by both of the children. It was 90 degrees, I mean, 85 to 90 degrees. Good time to pull out the hose, let the kids spray each other with the hose and have fun, in the spring, in the nice spring weather. Then all day yesterday, I was at work all day till 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m. So my weekend wasn't fucking great. I didn't touch a drop of booze. Getting ready to go to Florida next weekend. I'm going to be Florida man. I'm going to go to the happiest place on earth, quote unquote.
Yeah, you're going to see the mouse, huh?
Yeah, the House of Mouse. I'm also going to go find out what's going on Diagon Alley. So that'll be fun.
Fancy.
Yeah,
I read somewhere that like you need a doctorate to get around Disney World now, like that it's that complex to be able to get in the lines. Have you seen any of that, or are you just going in
Just
cold?
relative to Florida?
No, we go every 5 years. I went every 5 years as a kid because every 5 years there's something new, right? It gets bigger and bigger, and we had the foresight and went on I went there on my honeymoon, first time as an adult, with no kids and no parents, right? So, and then we took the kids 5 years ago, and now they're older. They can appreciate a little more this time. And I think it's going to be really fun. It's pretty easy to get around. It really is. I don't think it's that tough to navigate it. But I kind of already know the layout of most of the parks.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for Star Wars. I'm excited for Universal, Hogwarts, all that shit. I'm gonna have a bunch of boozy butter beers. So maybe I'll check in with you guys at one point and do a little "Hey Mike" from one of the pubs there.
Nice. That would be pretty stellar. Is Brian joining us in your place? Have we locked him in? Or
I don't know if we've locked him in. He's a hard guy to get a hold of. It's kind of funny because sometimes you can entice him with like "Hey Brian, we're gonna need you to come on the show," or "Hey Brian, would you like to come on the show?" And then 3 days later he's like, "Oh dude, I can't believe I'm just seeing this." When I've been texting him in our other group chat for days on end.
Yeah.
Brian's he's a busy dude. He's a busy dude. He's in a busy city. I mean,
so
it's like 5 people. How busy could it be?
I'm concerned if that's the behavior we're seeing, Mike, he's going to come back on. He's going to come back on and he won't have listened to the pod in a long time. So he won't know anything we're talking about. And he'll try to fake it for a minute and struggle mightily. We've seen this from him before. I'm cautious. Have some trepidation. Yeah.
I'm optimistic.
You're optimistic?
I have to be. Somebody's got to be. I figured I'd take that on today. And, for the next like 2 or 3 minutes at least.
I think Brian does listen to the pod. He just
does or does not.
He does, but he doesn't let on that he does, and it's fine. It's a cool factor that he doesn't want to let Nathan and Trey know that he's in on the wicked Spursy train.
Interesting.
So I think it was that one time that we caught him. He didn't when we first started doing "Hey Mike,"
and he was oblivious to what that was.
Yeah. I think it was that one time.
Never again, he said.
Right.
Now it's what he puts on when he puts his daughter to bed. Nothing puts her to sleep faster
than the dulcet tones of Dave, Steve, and Mike.
The dulcet tones. We put people to sleep all over the world every week, don't we? It's fantastic.
At least we're good for something.
Oh fuck yeah.
Well, Steve, well, like again, guys, thanks for covering me last week. As you know, I was out of town visiting some family and then doing some work stuff. Got back on Saturday, got to see my oldest son Logan, who you guys know, who graduates in a month. He was home for the weekend, so that was cool, and had to get back at it today. But unlike you, Mike, I am more like Steve. I didn't watch the match at all. The knowledge I have of the match is avoiding the worst of the Twitter and just trying to read what Alistair Gold put out and feedback from Mike that was given during the game. So this is going to be a rough analysis pod this week. I want to
so
say
this is a problem. Here's the problem: is that you guys, like Steve and Dave, both have relatively good excuses for not watching. I was going to have a good excuse for not watching, but I had mentioned to you that I was going to watch the replay.
you did.
As tough as it is, and we can get into this in a little bit, like as tough as it is, I still was going to watch the replay. And guess what I did? I still watched the extended highlights. I watched the
you just watched the extended highlights?
I watched the Sky. No. I watched the whole match. I didn't watch the whole replay though. I watched the extended highlights, the Sky extended highlights, and I watched the NBC extended highlights or the USA.
See, Mike, network. You finally get you get your dream today. All of the tactical analysis is
why
yours.
the fuck? No,
there are no takes that Steve can take from you. It's
to be
your
fair,
tactics today.
To be fair,
when Steve leads with "to be fair," you're in trouble.
I did call the result last week, so it's not. It's as if I watched the match in the fact that I've seen Spurs all season and just knew what was going to happen.
Steve Stradamus does have a pretty good track record. No,
this is the problem. This is the problem though, because now I'm left to carry this shit.
It's on you, yeah. Like we're just here to make fun of you drinking beer later, and
I'm the fucking goofball of this whole thing. I don't know shit.
You know, Mike. You know what would make you even funnier? This just came to mind. You should you should wear a bolo tie. You know, just as a special way to dress up. You remember bolo ties from when you were a kid?
Yeah, there was like, I think there was one kid at my 8th grade graduation who wore a bolo tie, and I'm sure he got picked on mercilessly.
Right. Not that's I think that would be the right vibe for you today. You know, this
maybe
it's your special
cool
moment,
like
but you just
Texas.
It's your special moment, but you just might be a click or two off of where you wanted to be, you know?
Where I want to be is like right now is like my favorite time of the year. Like it happens like pre-winter, like just pre-winter, like early fall, and it happens in like late spring, mid to late spring, and that is hoodie with shorts weather. My favorite. So
one of my favorites, Crocs with socks weather.
I wear Crocs with socks every single day. Crocs.
Don't worry, Steve, give it 10 years, buddy. You'll be there. Don't worry.
I can
feel the kids do that, dropping. Man. Actually, Mike and I are as cool as the kids. You're the one that's stuck in millennial, you know.
That's super true.
Yeah,
that's super true. We've come to the point where it's full circle, and we're fucking cool again.
Right.
We are cool. I'm gonna be even cooler when I buy my kids those fucking lightsabers and the wands.
Yeah, the kids.
I'm gonna be, but I'm gonna be the one like going around like touching things with the wand. And saying the spells.
Don't touch anything with your wand, Mike. That's a really stupid idea.
I really stepped in that shit.
You see, I've started our Disney vacation fund already for when Isaac is old enough to actually enjoy it, with the express knowledge that I'm going to buy one of those fucking lightsabers. Like, that's not a question. It's not going to be for him. It's not going to be a gift for a kid. It's for me.
That's okay. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm an adult. I can buy things.
You can buy things, and you can have just as much fun. You know what you need to do is you need to do put the lightsaber together thing, and Isaac needs to do the build a droid thing.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
So anyway, back to the football. I'm not going to say a whole bunch about it, other than the fact that like the first 25 minutes to 30 minutes of the game, actually, after the first 5 minutes of the game, when Spurs just kind of took over and looked like they're in fucking cruise control for 25, 30 minutes, like it looked as though Spurs were playing up to the potential that they should have been playing against a team who, let's face it, is kind of shit. And if not for 4 or 5 more really shitty fucking teams, would be in relegation form. This is the weakest that the Premier League has been in years. Especially for a team like Bournemouth to be out of the relegation zone. So that said, Spurs look pretty comfortable. They looked comfortable to the point where everything was kind of was like in slow motion. They were just passing into spaces and controlling the ball and controlling the rhythm of the game. They weren't, they weren't being pressed, so they didn't feel like any need to be urgent about anything. They were just kind of in cruise control, and it looked for those moments that shit, we got this in the bag. Like the Sonny goal was fantastic. Sonny looked like he had his game back. He looked like he had a little bit of confidence back. He was tracking back on defense. He was running all over the field. He was making skillful passes. He even had his head up at times, on the ball. He wasn't trying to occupy the same space and I think this had a little bit to do with the 3-5-2, the fact that we came out kind of in a 3-5-2 again, so that he wasn't occupying the same space as Perisic, although it does kind of hamstring Decky a little bit because Decky's out of position, and he's been poor lately, and he was poor again in this game. There's just something off about him, and I think the same thing that we talk about with Sonny's issues is the same thing that we see going on with Decky now too. Decky has a partner that he's not used to. He's now having to drop back into midfield because they randomly switched to the 3-5-2 from the 3-4-3, and they're going back and forth. But again, all looked well for a while there. There was a spot where Sonny should have probably instead of shooting went and dropped it off, or he should have dropped it off to Kane instead of shooting, because Kane was just fucking wide open, and it would have been 2-0 at that time, and I think Bournemouth would have given up at that point. But they were emboldened by that. They had one or two nice opportunities in that first half before they equalized, but the game all turned. Unfortunately, the entire game turned when Clement Longley got injured. At first, Romero was asked to go over onto the left side instead of just shifting everybody over and having Davinson Sanchez come in on his typical right side. They moved Romero over, kept Dyer in the center, and put Davinson on that side. And then it got really weird for me at that point, because then Romero was just all over the field, just doing whatever the fuck he wanted. We have Hugo back there. So, the second that Bournemouth came in and equalized was the second that they got, they had a little bit of that bravado. We're in this game type of a thing. They were never really out of it. They were just kind of waiting to see what happened, I think. And what happened was that they equalized. Then they felt a little bit of a charge from that, and that's when they started pressing us. And for any fucking goofball fan, like especially the two of the three of us who are novice fans at best, we know that all you need to do is press Spurs, right?
This is true.
And we constantly play that fucking game where we got to play out of the back, play out of the back, play out of the back. You can't play out of the back when you don't have press resistant center backs, right? You don't have press resistant center backs. That first goal happened because they started to press us. You know, Davinson plays a questionable ball to Pedro Porro, who like it was. I know what people are saying. It's not Davinson's fault, but it's partially Davinson's fault giving the ball to Pedro Porro there, who admittedly was poor. But Davinson gives him that ball, and it wasn't a heavily weighted pass. Let's put it that way. It was kind of a lazy, easy pass. And because of that, the second that Pedro Porro got the ball, he had dudes, just like 3 dudes sucked right to him. Instead of doing what he probably should have done, which is maybe tried to play the ball off a foot in for a throw in, or kind of skiving it up the line, or maybe even passing back to Davinson Sanchez, which I wouldn't have thought would probably have been a good move either. He decides to take the ball inside. And when you got 3 dudes on you, that's probably never a fucking good idea to take the ball inside, especially with oncoming midfielders and attackers on the other side. And he loses the ball, and then goal. Spurs then were just completely. I don't even know. I'm going to say a word. It doesn't make any sense. Confusticated. I think I just made it up. They were confusticated. They were confusticated the rest of the fucking game. They didn't know what the fuck end was up. Sonny lost a little bit of the spark that he had. Højbjerg was playing the ball to the other team constantly. Skippy couldn't get forward, couldn't get back. Perisic, and I know this number for a fact because I chose him in my DraftKings. Perisic put in 19 crosses. 19. You know how many found dudes?
1.
4.
Mike, really quickly, confusticate is a word.
Shut the fuck up.
It means exactly what you intended it to mean. It means confuse, confound, or perplex, make something obscure, unclear, or unintelligible.
No fucking shit.
Confusticate. It's a verb. So I think we got our episode title.
Maybe
to
I've
say
heard
the
that
least,
somewhere.
Right?
Confusticated.
I'm
Confusticate is a verb.
I'm honestly amazed.
I didn't know that was a word. I must have heard it somewhere before, but amazingly, what happened was the second goal was definitely Davinson's fault. And you know, he had to be brought off at that point. We needed attackers. It was just really bad timing.
So out of ignorance, how bad was the fan reaction? Because I read about it, but I obviously didn't see it. How horrid was it? Live, not afterwards, live.
I think live, the fan reaction was pretty fucking terrible. He was being booed every time he touched the ball when he was in.
Yeah.
And initially I thought it was something like, so I like even looked up like, why is Bournemouth mad at Davinson Sanchez? So I thought it might have been the away fans, and it was not. He was there. You couldn't really hear much when he came on, but it was like every time he touched the ball, he was being booed. You know, especially after that goal. You know, I mean, Spurs came back. You know, we leveled it because they put Danjuma on for him. You know, and they had to go to like a back 4 for a bit. And you know, Højbjerg can't fucking defend. He just can't defend in a back 4. He can't be a defensive player. So you know, we ended up losing the game in the 90 plus 6 minutes, and the fan reaction for me, I don't like booing. I'm not a booer. I don't boo. I'm a Red Sox fan, you know. I'm a Washington football team fan. I've seen some pretty terrible, awful things in my life. I've never been in my life more embarrassed to be a fan of a club and to be counted among the other fans of a club than I was this weekend. And I haven't been a fan of soccer for a long time. I've seen a lot of shit, terrible, awful Red Sox teams. I've, the late 80s and through the mid 90s, the Red Sox were pretty fucking terrible. I went through with my Red Sox what a lot of Spurs fans did with Tottenham in the 90s, right? It wasn't till the mid to late 90s that the Red Sox started getting a little better. Things started to turn around with the sale of the team. You never know what could happen with the sale of a team. You might get a boost from that, you might get owners who come in and do some good things. You never know. But for me, the treatment of the two players in question, which are Pedro Porro and Davinson Sanchez, and Davinson's been getting a lot of shit for a long time now. And he's not meant for this league. He's not a great player for this league. He's not a great player for this club, but that doesn't mean that you can go out there and abuse somebody. As a fan, like I said, I've never been more embarrassed to be a fan of the team, to the point where I haven't worn any of my Tottenham shit all week.
Yeah, Mike.
Like I don't want to be counted amongst those fucking scumbags. And before you go, Steve, I just want to say that it's becoming more and more apparent to me that it might be a racial thing. It might be. It might be because of the color of somebody's skin. Because Højbjerg's been shit for a long time, and he hasn't gotten any of that shtick. Decky's been shit all season. He hasn't gotten any of that shit. Like this is becoming a thing at Tottenham. And it's not just him. It was like when I first started watching, it was Danny Rose was getting shit, right? He got shit. Sonny got shit. Like there's been a lot of terrible fan stuff going on with Tottenham, and I think that shit needs to be addressed. And maybe this might be the place for us to do it. I know we like to have fun here. And like I said, Davinson isn't a great player, but nobody deserves the kind of shit that he and Pedro Porro got.
Yeah,
Steve, what do you got?
That fan reaction is precisely the reason that I refused to watch the game, because I'm an empathetic person by nature. So I did not want to put myself in that situation where I was, I think Mike said it best, embarrassed to be a fan just because of the reaction. I do think it's interesting that you picked Højbjerg and Decky when the more obvious person who has been underperforming all season is Hugo. That would have been the easy one. You never see Hugo getting booed when he screws up, when he passes the ball, right into danger.
You don't see that with Eric Dyer either.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're spot on. Nobody deserves that level of abuse. Like if you're
Emerson Royale got it.
Yeah. And then, he turned it around, and all of a sudden people are praising him as if they've been, on his side the whole time. But the thing that really frustrates me is like, you spend Spurs fans, the match going fans, I read about it online all the time. They're always talking about how expensive it is to go to these games, how, it costs an arm and a leg. You're throwing this money. So what? You can go and you can abuse a player. Like, is that really good for your mental health at that point? Like, why spend the money on that? If you don't think you're going to enjoy your time there, don't fucking go. It serves two purposes, right? First and foremost, you don't have to be put in a sour mood, and you don't have to expose yourself as a fucking piece of shit on, international television. Second, it actually does more to make a point to the ownership that things need to change when match day revenue dwindles. Like, so, abuse aside, if you want change at the club, stop going to the fucking games. Don't go to the games to boo the players. Don't go to the games, period. Just stop fucking going. Take a break. I've said for weeks now that I've chalked the season up. I've seen how we've been performing. I've seen what the coaching staff has done to the squad. I knew weeks ago that this team was going to do some truly abysmal shit before the end of the season. And you know what I decided to do? I decided to skip the game, go to the zoo, have a good time, enjoy the day. You know, like I was so content not watching that game. And, you know, I've been a Spurs fan my entire adult life at this point. And, you know, it was nothing to me. You know, I figured best case scenario, they win the game and I can go and watch the replay. Worst case scenario, they lose the game and I go watch the replay and I have something to talk about. I didn't even consider that fans would be out there abusing our players to the point where both Sanchez and Porro deleted their social media accounts because of the abuse. Like that to me is absolutely despicable behavior. And if you're a match day fan or somebody who goes to those games in person and you're listening to this and you're taking part in that type of abuse, you need to get some fucking help. Like that is just not okay ever at all. It's a fucking game, right? Like this is, I understood it when it was Ndombele taking his sweet ass time and getting off the field. That wasn't like I'm going to abuse you for a reason. It was, I don't agree with what you're doing right now. But to do it for somebody who is truly trying, like we know Sanchez is not good. He has not been a solid defender. He has not done enough to justify his price tag. We all know that, but he does not deserve that level of vitriol at all. Same with Pedro Porro. Like we talked just a week ago, 2 weeks ago about how he fucking just gives it his all. He puts his head down, he drives forward, he tries his best every single time. When things don't go well, he's the one who's looking optimistically to the future. And to turn on him on a dime, like it's just disgusting. That type of behavior is just completely unacceptable. And it's also, in my opinion, it's not even warranted. Like those aren't the people that deserve your frustration. You should be frustrated at the coaching staff and the Spurs ownership for putting us in this position to begin with. And even then, even if they were directing that at Stellini for his dog shit tactics or at Levy for picking some garbage managers over the last 5 years, even then, they don't deserve that abuse either. You know why? Because nobody fucking deserves that. It leaves me so goddamn frustrated. And, Mike, I think you said it absolutely the best. It was embarrassing. I did not want to be a Spurs fan this weekend as a result of that. It was just disgusting behavior. And I hope that when we play again, anybody going to a match in person has a good long look at themselves before they step foot in that stadium and decides to be at best supportive and at worst silent. That's it. I'll leave it at that because I'm just so fucking fired up about that type of shitty ass behavior. It is just not a good look for us. And you know what? We don't even have any kind of reason to be that fucking entitled at all. We haven't won anything in years, right? Like I get the frustration that we haven't won anything, but the way some of these fans are reacting, it's like they're entitled to something that hasn't been earned or deserved at all. Just fucking stop it. Take a break if you need to. Stop tuning in this season. Wait until we've got, a solid plan, a new coach, a direction to get behind, and then maybe you can feel a little bit more optimistic. Maybe you can get behind it, but man, this just fucking sucks. Like, we've talked manager search before. We've talked about the pros and cons to certain types of players. Right now, if I am a coach thinking about the vacancy at Spurs and I'm seeing the way that fans are behaving, I don't want to go there. World-class stadium, world-class training grounds, like that's all fine. But if I'm going to get fucking crucified because my plan doesn't immediately get results, why should I put myself in that position, right? Like you see names like Vincent Kompany. I would be supportive of that right now. I've talked in the past about how I may not be super high on his experience, but the more I think about it, the more that's kind of what I want, right?
What did Pochettino have? Like what kind of experience?
Exactly. I want somebody that doesn't have the pressure. I want somebody who is willing to take time to develop something. I don't want a win now manager that is going to turn this entitled bunch of douchebags into the fucking plastic scum that we have all been ridiculing at Man City, at Chelsea. We don't want to be those fans. We don't want to be that toxic fan base. And again, if you're one of those people, just fucking stop, take a break, go on a fucking walk, clear your mind, and maybe come back when you're feeling a little bit better about yourself.
Wow. There's a lot there, right? Both of you with what you shared, and there's nothing that I have to say that's that enlightening, but I'm struck by a few things. Like, first, I'm struck your comments just now about ramifications on manager search. Like, I hadn't thought of that. Of course, intolerable racist fans doesn't stop managers from going to Chelsea, but they're Chelsea. And who's to say that?
I mean, to be fair, the money
would happen.
The money's going to be enticing, right? Like, we're going to pay whoever the manager is.
But you're right. It could affect how the right person feels about the job, right? And it could cause them to walk away. I'm struck, Mike, by your, you pointing out that there may be a race factor behind how the fans are behaving as I think through Musa Sissoko and how he was treated at the back end of his time with us. Too, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's just that I don't even want to think about it. And then it hurts to be like, yeah, maybe you should think about that. Maybe there's something to that. And that's harmful. I went to a baseball game Friday night, Washington Nationals against those blasted Cleveland Guardians. Adam, your team. I know you're listening. It was a joy. You guys know how I feel about being at the ballpark. It was a joy. And like those to people that would go to stadiums to watch sporting events, like when you lose sight of the fact that it's a privilege that you even get to do that, like that you have the opportunity that other people don't have to go and do that. And then you treat, if you want to call them the product on the field, fine, call them the product on the field, but you treat the product like garbage. That sucks. And I feel for you, because I wish somebody else had your seat, is basically what I'm thinking. And then I'm thinking about the person, Sanchez had to go to work the next day or a couple days later, right? Porro had to go. Like, no matter how much these guys let us down or disappoint us or arouse our rage, they are also still human beings who go home to partners and kids and then have to show back up at work the next day. And that really sucks, man. Like, how do you get horribly booed off of your job? And then
I would bet the guy is a fucking stand-up good person who,
absolutely.
Yeah, the dude comes in, he's rusty. He's played a handful of fucking times this season, right? Because
he can be prone to brilliance, and he can be prone to a mistake.
In the right system, he's not the type of player. Like, he's probably a very good defender in the right system. Maybe not very good, but I think he's probably a good defender, serviceable. Yeah. He's in the right system. But in a system that forces you to play out of the back, like, we have the fucking least competent players to play out of the back out of any team in the entire fucking league. And we're forcing these guys to do this. Pedro Porro, for the scouting reports and whatnot, has, he's always been the guy where they said, yeah, see, he's press resistant. He's press resistant. He can handle the ball. He's fast. He moves. Can't play defense, but he's press resistant. He wasn't press resistant with 3 fucking dudes on him, but he made one bad decision and he has to delete his social media accounts. That's fucked up. Like, these dudes are world-class athletes. Maybe they're not the best in the league, in this league, at their position in their job. But can you fucking imagine, like a bunch of fucking fat, mouth breathing fucking Joes that go to a game, load up on fucking what do they call fry ups and shit before the fucking game, stuff their fucking faces and drink their heads off, go to a game and they have the right to boo a player who's one of the top players in his position, top 100 to 150 players in his position in the world in a game where thousands of players play in that position. Like, he might not be the best on the team or best in the league even, but he's still fucking better than you.
Absolutely.
You fat fucking mouth breathing piece of shit. You don't have the right to boo somebody. You paid the money, sure, to watch the product on the field, but it doesn't give you the right to boo and torture somebody. That poor guy, when he came off the field, and he was only on the field for like 25 minutes, that the cameras went right to him. And that guy looked like he was about to cry. And I guarantee it didn't have much to do with the fans booing him, but it was because he felt he let his team down. And maybe he felt he let the fans down and his club. But he wasn't there to play for those fucking assholes. He was there to play for his team and play for his club. He wasn't there for those fucking assholes who wanted to come out and torture him and make him feel like less than a human being. That's just not correct. And I will continue to watch Spurs this season, as I still continue to watch Washington, and the Boston Red Sox. They haven't been great in years. They had one good season past 5 or 6, and they're not doing it the right way. And I blame their general manager, but at the same time, as much as I blame Levy, the owner, and Paratici, but I have an obligation to cheer for my team and to hope that my team does what they're paid to do. But if they don't, dude, it's not the end of the fucking world. You have a life to live. What these guys on the field, these players on the field, they don't have an effect on your life. And if they do, then you've got some mental issues that you need to maybe see somebody about, because it's a problem. It's not healthy, and it's becoming a problem. And with social media, it's becoming even more of a problem.
That's true.
One final point that I want to make, and I think Dave has a very important question he wants to ask.
As you make that point, I have a question, I have a statement, and I have a reframing. So, but Steve, go ahead with your important point first.
Final point. When it comes to Sanchez, right? Like, this is a dude, Mike, you pointed out, he hasn't really played much over the last few years. He could have just, decided, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to trade. I'm going to try to force my way out. But he was a professional. He showed up. He did the training. He was on the bench. He was ready to go for the team. He wasn't one of these guys who thinks he's above being on the bench, that he needs to force his way into the team or, throw a temper tantrum about it. I as much as I don't think he's necessarily the greatest defender and right for the team, I have to respect him showing up to work, to do his job, and to do it with no complaints. So, it's probably a stretch to hope that he's listening to this, but, Davidson, if you do get wind of this, I got to respect your work ethic, if nothing else. Like that, you are a tremendous person, an absolute great guy to have on the squad. You could be doing so much differently that would maybe not endear you to people at all. And you chose to do things the right way, to be a professional about it. And I really have to respect that. Over to you, Dave.
Good stuff, Steve. Good stuff. Here's what I got, boys. First, I think a little reframing of our time this evening. We spent a lot of time up to this point. Normally about 20 minutes prior to this, we get to this important segue. But so I'm thinking we're going to close our episode tonight with a little bit of fun, because we kind of just had some closing thoughts. You boys okay with that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. Second, I want to point out to you, Mike, I know where you got the word confusticate from. And I would say to you that it's a word that has also been used with the word, which is a made up word, be bother. You got it?
What?
Are you claiming that I'm old and I don't
No.
understand.
What I'm claiming is it's from The Hobbit. There's a line in The Hobbit where
Oh.
someone says, be bother and confusticate these dwarves. So I could make the case that confusticate and be bother are both Tolkien-ish words, and confusticate actually made the dictionary, but be bother didn't make the dictionary. So go back to your Lord of the Rings era. Yeah, you may have stolen that from your.
I'm a
your
huge
Hobbit,
Lord
your
of the
Hobbit
Rings
watching.
fan. I'm
There it is. You are welcome. You know what else you are? You are the holder of an exciting moment for us right now.
Oh, am I?
And that is we have a question we'd like to ask. And Steve, I was wondering what you might be wondering. What are you thinking right now, Steve?
I'm thinking a lot of things, Dave, but I'm going to go with the classic question. Hey, Mike, what you drinking?
It's
Did I
funny.
get it right?
You did.
Damn straight you did.
It's funny that I made our Instagram post today, and I did say that we had some heavy shit to talk about, but I did.
True.
Yeah, it is, and I see it. I see it. Getting a little better after we get all this shit off our chest. About this. I feel like our next few episodes are going to be great. Your next episode is going to be great. And whether we win, lose, draw, whatever, but we got some fun guests coming up, and I gotta say, like, we've said this isn't fun. It'll get fun again. And we're gonna have a great time, just like I'm gonna have a great time right now, because Steve, I love when you ask that question.
I'm so glad.
Today I've been trying to get a beer from this brewery for the longest time. Not necessarily this one. It's not necessarily what I wanted, but it's a Belgian style brewery. It's called the Lost Abbey. It's in California.
Abbey with the EY or just Y?
An EY.
All right.
The Lost Abbey. This is a barrel-aged sour. It's called Poppy.
Oh, look at you.
Red Poppy. It's called Red Poppy.
Red Poppy.
We know that this is the red poppy is the symbol of veterans in the US. It symbolizes all veterans. I know.
That's why you bought it, Mike. Yeah, you're.
No, it's not why I bought it. Fuckface. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
How can I explain this?
My father, my grandfather, everybody in my family are veterans except for me. I was too soft. I never would have made it, but I do hang the red poppy from my mirror in my car. But this is a barrel aged ale with cherries and poppy seeds added. It just says the cellaring temperature is 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The serving temperature is 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know if that's where we're at right now, but I did take it out earlier because of that. So it is like it's a Belgian style beer. Almost like a Flanders type sour.
Mike, I'm really curious. We have fans of the pod who track your assessments very closely. And
we have friends.
What we do, friends of the pod, yeah. FOTP. And yeah, say that 10 times. And Mike, you had a long stretch where you said, I don't like fruit in beer, but you've had some beer with fruit awareness developing as of late, I think. So
yeah,
I'm really curious to see what you think of this sour with cherries.
It's just born of the fact that we do a lot of IPAs and stuff.
Gotcha. So you're saying you just kind of you have to go there to mix it up a little bit.
I should refine my statement. Not that I don't like fruited beers.
Fruited ales,
like beers that
so
I typically don't. I did have a really bad blueberry ale this weekend, or
Yeah,
not this
blueberry.
weekend, previous weekend. But anyway, I don't like fruit in my beer. That's for fucking sure.
So
If
like
I'm
you
gonna
got
have
like you got like a Hocker Shore, you're not going to put a slice of lime in it or something, or a lemon in it, or if you got a Dos Equis, you're not going to put a slice of lime in. You're just not doing that.
no, keep that shit away from my fucking beer.
All right,
If
understood.
you need a piece of fruit to go into your beer to make it better, then it should have fucking been brewed with that fruit in it.
What about a Blue Moon? You put an orange in a
Fuck
Blue
off.
Moon?
I'm not drinking a Blue Moon. Get the fuck out of here.
Why? Because you
Not even
boycotted
once in a Blue
Anheuser-Busch
Moon?
products? Oh wait, is that Anheuser-Busch? Do they own them now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's Miller
I'm
Coors.
trapping you right
it's
there.
It's Miller Coors, and you're not
It's Miller
trapping
Coors.
me. No, I just don't like the shit. Oh wow, look at this. This is
I
a neat
can't.
little can. It's like a Red Bull can. Little narrow. Ooh, that smells interesting. So it's got kind of a biscuity looking foam
And-
popping out of it. I'm gonna pour it in this chalice. Oh, interesting.
It's chalice.
Why that glass choice? I feel like I'm at like a wedding with that glass choice.
Because some Belgian ales are supposed to be served in a chalice or a tulip style glass.
All right.
Not like your IPA tulip, right? But like a tall, narrow tulip glass. And I just
Got it.
don't have them. But it did say to use a chalice. It does say most Belgian beers will be served in a chalice style.
All right. There you have that.
So this beer straight off the bat here, reddish brown, little bit of a head, looks pretty fizzy. Smell? Oh, smells. It's got the typical kind of Flanders sour smell. This one's definitely cherries, lots of cherries. I don't know about poppy seeds, but the cherries, it smells a little bit like vinegary. Probably due to the barrel aging process, but I don't know. I'm gonna pour a little more in here and then we'll give this a shot. It's a lot browner. I thought it would be a lot redder, given the the cherries, but it is kind of reddish brown.
I love it. You can hear Mike swallow. That's always good, right, Steve?
Yeah.
You could hear that.
You could hear that, yeah.
Do you
That's quite
hear it
nice.
every time?
Maybe not every time, but that time it definitely came through.
That's pretty gross if you have to listen to that.
I think
That's super-
historically your beard would like buffer out the sound, maybe, but now just projecting.
It's yeah. No, I like it. It's definitely super fizzy. Yeah, it's a sipping beer. Oh, that's yummy.
Mm.
It does have that it does have that Belgian quality, that yeasty quality. It does have a little bit of that, it's almost like a balsamic vinegar.
What the fuck?
No, that's good. That's actually
I love balsamic vinegar, but not in my beer.
that's
Yeah.
a good that's a good thing. That's a good thing in a sour. It's that it does have the cherry. I don't know about poppy seeds. I mean, I don't know what what I would taste in a poppy seed beer.
Put down to Tractor Supply. Pick some up.
Steve, I modified my my prediction, by the way, if you can see there. I'm going with my
Damn.
second choice.
Tractor Supply is a great place. I like this beer.
Oh, Steve and I are locked in.
Yeah.
This is gonna be interesting. Hey, Mike, as you're contemplating, talk to our dozens of viewers and hundreds of listeners about Wicked Spursy stickers. I think I saw one on your little beer koozie you had going on there, right?
No, it's my water bottle.
What's your water bottle? Look at that.
Ooh.
Those of you on video. Mike, if someone wanted one of those, what's the way to go about getting one?
They're quite small, but they're perfect. I also have one limited edition on my phone.
Oh, look at that.
Damn, I need one of those.
Yeah, man. Hold up.
They're just 3-inch stickers. They're waterproof. You can email us. I'll send you one. Email
All
us. You can send a message to our Twitter. our Instagram, and we'll get some DM going, and I'll mail you some stickers.
Boom. Hit us up on the socials, yo. Right?
Yeah.
Is that how they do it?
Yeah,
Sweet.
I'll just
cost
grab
you,
a beer with you and get some.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it'll cost you 2 downloads per episode, which means you have to go to two different
You gotta help
podcast
pump our
platforms.
numbers.
By the way,
Buffer our
gentlemen,
numbers.
I'm going to put you under pressure on the internet for eternity. Today, I ordered the dogs and the deep dish stuffed for delivery for graduation party in a month. So, I extended the invite to both of you. So now you know the goods will be there if you're man enough to show up, and if your wives are kind enough to show up with you. No
Sounds
pressure
like a
though.
good time.
No pressure.
No pressure. I just poured the
Whatsoever.
rest of this. I just poured the rest of this beer.
All right, rate this bastard.
2.5.
Damn it, so close.
So close. We both said 3.6.
Yeah.
That's pretty dialed in though, Steve. I mean, when we're on the same wavelength and that close, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but could you imagine what it would have been like if not only did we both guess, but we both guessed correct?
That would have been, it would have taken a horrible week to be a Spurs fan and turned it into an amazing week to be a Spurs fan. Right? Is that how big it would have been?
Horrible week to be a Spurs fan. Great week to be a wicked Spursy fan.
There you have it. Yep.
Hey, listen, you get to listen if you so choose, you get to listen to us bitch and complain for a good 40 minutes, maybe 30, because the intro was a little long. We're running out of stuff to talk about. You guys didn't watch the game because of family affairs. Leaving poor Mike to do that.
Poor Mike.
And
Poor
do all
Mike,
the
what you
analysis
drinking?
Poor Mike.
for the match.
Poor Mike. Poor car mat scrubbing Mike, right?
I gotta tell
You
you,
know what this is? You know what
Bolo
this is,
tie Mike. Yeah.
There we go. Smallest violin.
Put
I
your
was
bolo
playing
tie
just for
back on.
you.
Quit your bitching.
I was really nervous about this beer based on last week's beer. I kind of like it.
All right. Well, as you know, you have to finish it.
I do. So for a song,
He's gonna say he's gonna do like a Beatles song because of Abbey Road.
no,
Well, now he's not.
I wasn't gonna anyway. Like
Yeah, you were.
Dave thinks I'm gonna do it like every single time. Thinks I'm gonna do the
right.
obvious choice.
He's gonna message me after this, be like, "You asshole! You called me out on that. I was totally gonna do that."
No, but I would have liked to. I'm not that clever. I'm not that clever. It's a sipping beer, and I'm gonna go with a little sipping music today. Let's do Miles Davis. So what?
All right.
Off my favorite Miles Davis album, Kind of Blue.
That's a heck of a call, man. That's an obscure genre twisting call coming from Big Mike. I like it.
Miles Davis is possibly like early Miles Davis, like the quartet and the quintet is possibly the perfect party music, like background party music. But if you want to sit there and listen to like Milestones or So What or a Kind of Blue, like you just turn off the lights and listen. Like there's a lot going on. Like that's in the age of like that Coltrane was in the band and shit. So like that was the golden age, like the late 50s of like jazz before like Miles Davis and Coltrane went like fusion jazz and like, that kind of shit. Like Bitches Brew, like Miles Davis's Bitches Brew was like, nobody wants to hear that except for a true jazz fan, like that,
Mike,
that shit's a lot of just noise to people, but
you'll hopefully appreciate this. And Steve, you may, but Mike, you being an older gentleman may appreciate it more. Back in the day when you had like a billion CDs, right? And then you went through that period where you just got rid of the CDs because you started streaming music off of LimeWire and weird things like that, right? To
Fair
try to get as much free music as you could. And then you get stuck into like Apple Music or whatever it might be. So while I was traveling last week, I just had this brain flash. I'm like, man, there's some albums I need to get that I used to listen to a lot in like the late 80s and early 90s, but that I don't have anymore. And I need to grab them. So I didn't grab the albums, but I just pulled them off Apple Music. I want to throw out for you 3 things that I downloaded to my phone over the weekend. One was the House of Pain Greatest Hits, which was just very time sensitive.
Greatest hits. There's like 2.
I think it was 3,
he
maybe.
got both of them.
Top of the morning to you. That was a good one. GNR Appetite, like must have listened to that album 8 billion times in my life, but that album
top 5 greatest album of all time.
Fantastic album. And then here's one from my R&B days. Keith Sweat's first album, titled Keith Sweat. Fantastic in the car, let me tell you. Good stuff.
Is Keith Sweat Return to the Mac?
No, that's that's who is that? I was gonna say Luther Vandross, but that's not who that is. No, but yeah, Keith Sweat. It's good stuff, man. Keith Sweat, if you're out there, we'd love to have you on if you're still alive. I don't know. You probably lived quite a life in the
Return to the Mac is Mark Morrison.
There you go.
What the hell, Keith Sweat?
Oh yeah. It's just smooth grinding R&B, man. There is one thing he sings about. Every song is about the exact same thing.
This dude looks like this dude, holy shit. This dude dresses back in the 90s like Michael Irvin dresses today.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah.
He wears the nice plaid jacket or whatever, the cool color jacket,
or like the paisley jacket
with the priest collar shirt.
Yep.
No tie.
Keith Sweat had one thing on his mind, and all day, every day, that was Keith Sweat.
Oh my God. Oh, dude. Yeah. He was Get Up On It.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Steve. I didn't mean to do that to you, but just it was the thing.
It's fine.
Boys, I think
he has a net worth of 250,000, just so you know.
Keith Sweat does. Yeah. It's been a rough go since the 90s, apparently.
Mark Morrison just surpassed him, I guess. Return to the Mac is cool again,
Anyway. What the kids are saying?
Return of the Mac. Come on. All right,
gentlemen, let's wrap this thing up. Hey, let's hope we never, ever have to do a pod like this again, where we're both ashamed of our fellow supporters and
I'm not ashamed of my club, but I'm ashamed of the supporters.
There you go. So to better times next week, not just because you'll be gone, Mike, but to better times next week. That's what we're saying, right?
Not just because he'll be on. So there is a contributing factor.
Okay, not the intended message there. Not because you'll be gone, Michael.
I honestly think that you guys will be better for having Brian on. So
he's a little difficult to deal with, if I'm being honest.
Jesus Christ, I think you're trying to draw him out.
It's just I don't know.
Whatever he's got to do.
Just don't know what to expect from him. I don't know if he'll come prepared with cogent thoughts. I don't know.
He always has cogent thoughts. It's not about cogent thoughts.
I'm looking for him to prove it to me. That's really kind of where I am. Hey, Steve, what would you say to our fans as we depart?
I think my usual message rings even more true this time. And
they ain't been listening.
Don't be an asshole.
Sage advice from Dr. Steve and Michael.
Cois. And be safe, everyone.
And Mike loves Mickey Mouse.
It's Daisy Duck.
Daisy Duke.
Daffy Duck. No, he's
restarted.
You know what's funny? We're still live.